phase 2 of the Omicron response, and anti-mandate protesters are refusing to leave Parliament's grounds entering week 2 of their occupation. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern joins us now for more on this. Good morning, Prime Minister.
Morena.
Do you approve of the measures that the Speaker is taking to move these protesters on?
Well, the first thing I'd say is I don't approve of the tactics we're seeing from the protesters because, let's be clear, Parliament is a place of protest. We are all used to seeing protests here, and some of our most important movements have actually started through people movements that have involved protest. You know, Nuclear Free New Zealand, the right for women to vote. But what we've seen out there, I have to say, seems much more anti-vaccination more than anything else. It's included yelling abuse at people who are walking around with masks on, occupying spaces where businesses are operating, blocking people's ability to move around freely. That is moving beyond a protest. In fact, to me, it looks like an imported style of protest that included yelling abuse at people who are walking around with masks on, occupying spaces where businesses are operating, blocking people's ability to move around freely. That is moving beyond a protest. In fact, to me, it looks like an imported style of protest that I have not seen in New Zealand before, complete with Trump flags.
That's fucking right, bitch. Because guess what? He started out with hydrochloroquine, and everybody that didn't want that to happen with put options on all the businesses that would be lost by this pandemic to stimulate an economy, kill off old populations, and give young people trust funds because they would be out of control spenders, and that would be good for the economy. Bitch, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Technically, I don't even think legally you're allowed to protest in New Zealand, but you won't find this on Google searches or anything like that. It's just part of it's an overlooked law. They do protest in New Zealand, but they're not allowed to protest. So whatever they present to you, you have to listen to them. Fuck you.
And Canadian flags. When it comes to the management of the protest, so Melissa, and the Speaker, or indeed the decisions by the police, ultimately I need to let them do their jobs. Those are their jurisdictions. But I would just note that it has been a protest with constant noise, constant music and speaking and quite threatening behaviour. And so that's the context of the environment that we're all in down here at the moment.
And there is an element of anti-vaccination, but there is also a group there who are representing people who have lost their jobs, who are just angry.
That's right. Think of all the people who don't want to follow an unconstitutional worldwide mandate that is not legal, and maybe in some tribal community that has a population of about 35 inbreds. But other than that, the entire world does not allow people to force illegal injections. Okay, bitch?
Agree at the vaccine mandates, and they actually represent people who are not there on Parliament grounds, but who feel like that within our society because they may have lost their jobs. Do you feel the appropriate way to deal with those people is to spray water on them?
Firstly, I'm not going to get into the way of managing a protest in its totality because those ultimately very clear distinctions. I'm going to be careful to make sure that I'm not making judgments around the way we deal with protest at Parliament because it's a dangerous place to be in, politicians dictating particularly the way that the police might choose to deal with them. But
although the police have said that they actually...
let me just interject here. My new opinion is every politician is a crook. So go ahead. Keep talking, bitch.
If this were a protest that was solely around the...
Oh, I forgot to say, Trump was not a politician. Oh, let's continue.
Policies that have been used to manage a pandemic, then why is it that every journalist who stands out on that forecourt is being hurled abuse about telling the truth? There are signs calling for the execution of politicians. There is more than just an anti-vax rhetoric amongst some. It is strong. And so...
Yeah, let me see now. If somebody wanted to inject my kid with something that doesn't have safety protocols, I'd be thinking all kinds of crazy stuff too, bitch. Let's continue.
I wouldn't want to, for a moment, legitimize some of what I've seen down there because some of it is pure misinformation around the role of vaccines. And indeed, some people seem to believe that we're mandating the vaccine of children when clearly that is.
And it is clearly true. Don't try to deny it. As well, it is unverified as a vaccine. That's because the world population elite are allowed to say what they want on national news and not get censored. A vaccine has to have safety protocols. Something that is not a vaccine may not, but it also could not be called anything other than an attempted emergency shot or something stupid. Bitch, this cunt is fucking a cunt amongst Versace asshole cunts, all right?
Not true.
So
if
let's
I may,
talk
I'm
about
going to
the
speak
mandates
to
that do
the rest
exist
of New
then.
Zealand around the issue of restrictions and the way they're being used. We will only use them so long as we need them. We've already
lied so that we could make money on all these businesses going out of business in the form of put options. So maybe we should just end it here. I think I'm losing my train of thought is what you probably should be saying.